Battle between the 49ers and the Rams is just a few hours away. Oh, look at SoFi Stadium. It's gorgeous. The 49ers dealing with a ton of injuries. We are going to update you on all of that. The Rams could be licking their chops tonight, but it's the NFL, so you never want to assume anything, right? As we welcome you in here, Lindsay Theory is in L.A. covering tonight's game. Of course, she joins us now. Lindsay, as I said, injuries a big issue for San Francisco right now. Let's start with the quarterback position where Brock Purdy is out tonight.
Laura, Brock Purdy's out. Mac Jones will get the start again. He has confidence in his ability to step up. He won a couple games for the Niners in weeks 2 and 3. He says he believes in his process when it comes to preparation, regardless of whether he knows he's going to start or come in off the bench. Obviously tonight, very clear he will be the starter. Here's what's going to be Mac Jones' biggest challenge tonight, among other things. Who is he throwing the football to? He's without several receivers. Juwan Jennings is out. Ricky Pearsall is out. And let's not forget, Brandon Ayuk is yet to play this season. George Kittle is on injured reserve. So we could probably going to see a lot of Christian McCaffrey. Demarcus Robinson will start, as will Kendrick Bourne. I have to check the depth chart because they are so far down that chart, Laura, as they try to make do with a lot of backups. And plus, Mac Jones says in his preparation for the Rams, he believes that they are the best defense right now in the NFL.
Yeah, it's great stuff. We'll continue to keep you updated on everything around this game as it's coming your way. 2 3-1 teams, by the way, despite what the 49ers are dealing with their injuries. Thanks to Lindsay. All right, Byron Young and the rest of this Rams defense has been impressive in the early going. That's what the 49ers are dealing with tonight. Currently tied for second in sacks, top 5 in turnovers and touchdowns allowed. 49ers offense, meanwhile, has struggled to take care of the ball. Their 8 turnovers, tied for the most, actually, in the NFL. Dan Orlovsky and Jason McCourty are here. What's up, guys?
What's going on? How are we doing? Happy birthday.
Happy
birthday, Ron.
Thank you, guys.
Happy
you know what?
birthday.
Nowhere else I'd rather be spending my birthday. Well,
really?
No, but this is
watching a Rams touchscreen.
This is pretty great. I can't wait for that. Dan, why is this Rams defense such a problem for teams right now?
Yeah, so one of the things that happened this year with this Rams, or last year, was that front four became such a viable part of their rush, and they were relatively vanilla with a lot of the things they did last year schematically. Then this year, what they've started to do is kind of expedite the simulated pressure from their defenses. And I would tell everybody from the offensive perspective, some of the things that they're doing with those simulated pressures and the lack of information they're giving quarterbacks with both the rush and the coverage is one of the reasons why that they are creating such dominant matchups and a lot of confusion for quarterbacks. So I'll start with the first one. A couple things. When I, as a quarterback, get to the line of scrimmage, I see this, basically a flat line. Naturally, that's a cover 0 indicator or cover 4, but I'm not really getting any information from the defense starting point. The second thing is I see a vacancy space-wise in the slot. So I'm like, okay, well, I'm anticipating a pressure then because somebody has to have some type of responsibility, either person or area. And then I go here. Well, that defensive end is standing up. He's probably going to be a dropper, but then that defensive end is standing up as well. So that's not an indicator either. What happens is this. The Rams are going to bring pressure. They're going to do that simulated pressure where they go here, here, and up the field. And then this guy's a pressure guy. Now, J-Mac, I get a dropper, right? I get that dropper right there. And from an offensive perspective, I go, okay, I got 1-2, but they have 1-2-3. Well, that's advantage them. I'm outnumbered.
Absolutely.
And then I go up top and they go, I have 1-2-3, but you have 1-2-3-4. I'm in a bad space offensively.
Exactly. And for us as a defense right now, I love that you showed this, and it's just a 4-man rush. But when you give us empty, now we have a lot of times have to get into what we call our empty check. And this right here is a defense that allows them to go 4-on-3 up top. And then now here for these guys down the bottom, he knows I have help inside, and I can force that. But I'm going to have to close to this guy because he's just a spot dropper. He's not going to collision or run with this guy. The beauty of this is up top. Now you get a chance to have 2 DBs, a safety right here and a corner up top. They're looking to see how these 3 are displaced once the ball snaps. 2 of these guys go vertical. That means I have the inside guy, you have the outside guy.
And then for me, like when I see this safety drive this, because this ball almost gets picked off, I look at it and go, well, if that safety's driving it, I want to launch a post, right?
Absolutely.
But you guys have outstanding leverage when it comes to this safety or this corner playing inside leverage, and it almost ends up an interception. Then I'll go to the next one. This guy's Jared Verse. This is a Defensive Player of the Year candidate. As a quarterback, I'm sitting there going, okay, I have to protect those 4 or 5 guys. I'm getting all those people walking around as a defense. I need the ball to get snapped on the roll, which is where San Francisco is going to be tonight. And now all of a sudden that guy gets pressure running through my center, and then there's that shell coverage. As an offense, I have nowhere to go with the football, also having to deal with the huge pressure.
And the beauty of this is you see all of those guys running around. Behind Daniel Jones is a play clock. This is a third down situation. Those guys are paying attention to the motion, to the tap by the guard, but they're also looking at that play clock, knowing when they got to get down and get to this blitz. And the beauty of it is now you have a dropper, and all we're doing is playing coverage.
And you guys got 7 guys in coverage once again with only 4 rushers, and they get Verse on the center. That's going to happen tonight. The Rams are going to find the person that they would want Jared Verse matched up on, the guy that they think pass rush-wise gives them the best chance one-on-one, but they're not exposing their secondary number-wise. That's going to be a challenge for the 49ers tonight. It's also going to be a challenge for all offenses playing against that defense.
Yeah, J-Mac, what's the counter from San Francisco's offense tonight, especially considering that, as Lindsay told you off the top, you're going through the entire depth chart, people are injured.
They only have 2 players on their team, McCaffrey and Juszczyk, of guys that actually caught passes for them a year ago. So they're going to lean a ton on Christian McCaffrey, and that's what they've been doing. Now it's about how you deploy him and where you move him around. Right here, he's almost in a tight end position, gets matched up on an outside linebacker, and here it is, easy pitch and catch to the outside. They're not just going to keep him in the backfield. This I love. Motion to a slot receiver. Now you get 3 guys and it's empty. You expect McCaffrey to run a running back route, but this isn't that. He runs what we call a 7-cut, a deeper out, and scores the touchdowns against the New Orleans Saints. This, Dan, I don't know where you call this placement of the running back. Motion's out. He's in a wide receiver stance. He runs a comeback.
Oh, yeah.
This is a wide receiver route that he's able to get one-on-one and beat his guy. And this is a 4th down situation. Motions to a bunch on the outside, and now you force communication between 2 DBs, and here it is on a 4th and 2. They pick up a 1st down. This is in the 4th quarter of this game. So for McCaffrey, how do you move him around Kyle Shanahan? Because they're going to be keyed in on him, but you still got to find ways to get him the ball.
Yeah, and real quick, easily, I think the 49ers need to find easier completions for their quarterback early tonight. A lot of last week was Brock Purdy too much downfield. Easier completions tonight.
One area to watch was CMC. The Rams have the best goal-to-go defense this season. McCaffrey has the most goal-to-go rushing attempts. Let's get Adam Schefter in here with some top stories. And Shefty, we start in Baltimore. All eyes on Lamar Jackson's status this week.
Laura, for the 2nd straight day today, Lamar Jackson did not practice due to that hamstring injury, and it's looking like he'll be unable to play Sunday against the Houston Texans, which would mean that Cooper Rush would step in and start for Lamar Jackson. Let's keep in mind, the Ravens play the Rams at home next week before there's a bye, so they could opt to hold him out of 2 games and get a month's worth of rest. Let's also keep in mind one other issue for the Baltimore Ravens. Their Pro Bowl safety Kyle Hamilton did not practice today due to a groin injury that it seems he sustained during practice yesterday. Jeez. So they already are missing a whole bunch of starters. They're missing Lamar, and now they could be without Kyle Hamilton as well.
Golly, it's like the theme of the day for any team that's facing the Rams in upcoming weeks.
Yeah.
J-Mac, whether it's Lamar or Cooper Rush, is there a vulnerability in that Texans defense, though, that Baltimore can try to exploit?
I love the Houston Texans defense, but if I'm the Baltimore Ravens, whether Lamar's out there or not, I'm handing the ball off to Derrick Henry. 4 career games of 200 yards against the Houston Texans. And a part of that is getting to the 2nd level. If you can get up to those linebackers, which are pullers, which are down linemen, you can gain some yardage against them and force those smaller backers who run all over the field to have to go through your big guys up front to make tackles. It's also an advantage to have your quarterback under center and Derrick Henry behind him and him running downhill and being able to dictate where he wants to go and cut off of those blockers. I think it's huge for the Baltimore Ravens for him to get going. He had 18 rushes in week 1. Since then, it's been below 15, falling all the way to 8 last week.
Yeah, the Texans have allowed the 2nd most yards per rush versus pistol formation over the last 2 seasons. Great stuff from J-Mac. All right, more quarterback news here, Adam. This time in Washington, where Jaden Daniels has missed the last 2 weeks. What do we know about his status?
Doctors have cleared him to return to practice, and he believes he's going to be able to play on Sunday against the Los Angeles Chargers. So that's good news for Jaden Daniels, who missed the last 2 weeks with a knee sprain. He was replaced by Marcus Mariota, but the doctors feel like he's made progress with the 2 weeks off, the 2 games he's missed, and now he is expected to be out there on Sunday, back behind center for the Washington Commanders.
Dan, sorry, we were stretching over here. Dan, even if Jaden is back out there, you think there are much bigger problems in D.C. right now?
Oh, my goodness. Their defense right now on tape is a really difficult watch, and it's a little bit of the young guys, and then it's a lot of guys that have unbelievable careers in this league. Number one, how they handle motion in their communication. They're rocking and rolling that safety and backside safety. They're changing man coverage responsibilities. One's trying to communicate to the corner at the bottom of the screen, and all of a sudden both that corner and that drop-down safety end up playing Drake London by themselves. Nobody's playing Kyle Pitts. It's man-to-man coverage, so communication and motion settings. Number two, Marshawn Lattimore is an all-time great corner over the last 10 to 15 years. Right now, he's just struggling in man coverage, and teams are realizing it, and they're just taking shots at him, either getting that shot hit or getting a penalty. Bobby Wagner, outstanding Hall of Fame linebacker. I think teams are searching him out in man coverage, and I think that's where the Commanders are, is like, they don't necessarily want to be in man coverage, but they have to be in man coverage, but they can't be in man coverage. And then nosy eyes. This is, once again, man-to-man. You have a certain person, everybody, guy for guy. Both defenders at the bottom of the screen in this little ball fake have their eyes in the backfield, not in their guy. Michael Penix has 2 options to throw the football to. And so I think for Washington, indifferent of who's playing quarterback, if they're going to be the team that they thought they were going to be coming off of last year, they got to get back to some really good base fundamentals of how they're going to play defense. Right now, their defense is the biggest question mark of their football team.
And all right, more from Adam throughout the show, including an update on A.J. Brown and the Eagles that you don't want to miss. We're just getting started on NFL Live. The Giants looking for back-to-back wins. Dan's going to talk about how Jackson Dart should attack the Saints defense in order to keep that party rolling for New York. Plus, could the Patriots be the team to end the Bills' undefeated run? Stick around to hear why J-Mac thinks they have a shot thanks to their offensive coordinator, Josh McDaniels. Dan was talking about this yesterday, like the Bills might need to be a little scared of the Patriots.
Oh, I think that's a dangerous game for Buffalo. Absolutely.
Oh,
New England looks good.
Stands out Tajay Spears, Taysom Hill, some notable players that could come in and help their teams. These teams have 21 days in which to have these players practice and then decide whether or not to activate them. But the fact that they began practicing this week certainly is an encouraging sign that all will return.
Yeah, Jonathan Mingo at the bottom of that list with CeeDee Lamb out. You got to try to get him back as soon as they can for the Cowboys. All right. That was Injury Live. Let's go on to On Trend around the NFL. We're going to start with last week's debut of Jackson Dart. Dart kept it short against the Chargers. 16 of his 20 pass attempts going 10 or fewer yards through the air. 4 of his 6 first downs on Sunday came on those throws. So did also his only passing touchdown. Dan, does that trend continue this week in New Orleans?
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. Part of it is just the playing style that this offense has to play in. There's not really a deep threat outside of Malik Neighbors. Slayton's a good player. Wan'Dale Robinson works the middle of the field a little bit more. Theo Johnson. I love how Dart worked the middle of the field and played fast. So that's part of who they have to be offensively. It's also a little bit, if you watch this Saints defense, what they try to do. They're not going to give you a ton of shots down the field. You got to be very disciplined and methodical in how you do it. That's how Jackson Dart has to play this week.
On Trend continues with Xavier Worthy. Patrick Mahomes looking for his returning target in week 4, averaged over 16 air yards per target, a career high in any game that Worthy's had. At least 1 reception, including the playoffs. J-Mac, does the deep passing game continue for Worthy this week on Monday Night Football against the Jags?
I don't believe so. They played the Baltimore Ravens, and their defense has become a stat game for every team that they go against. I'm looking at this Jacksonville Jaguars defense led by defensive coordinator Anthony Campanelli. He prides this defense on aggression and violence, but they also play with a ton of too high shell, and that's playing cover 4, cover 6, doing different things to limit the big plays. The issue is when they get there, they are wreaking havoc, punching at the ball and intercepting passes.
Let's go to the Patriots. Drake May has completed 75% of his passes in 3 straight games, 1 shy of tying the longest streak within a season in NFL history, which is held by Tom Brady in that undefeated 2007 season. May's numbers across the board rank top 5 in the NFL since week 2, and he leads incompletion percentage. Dan, why has that been a trend in recent weeks for May?
Yeah, I think number one is the sequencing of plays for their offense is really good, and that's why Josh McDaniels is so special.
Yeah.
But I do think the two things to pay attention to in this game is the sets of twos that they deploy on offenses or defenses. Number one, the sets of two tight ends.
Okay.
Hunter Henry and Austin Hooper, big deal. And they're diversified in how they use them. Like sometimes it's mainly to run the football. Sometimes they pull them. And then they're two sets of two running backs. I think their pony personnel stuff is so good. Sometimes it's Antonio Gibson lined up as a wide receiver, but actually getting the handoff. Sometimes it's putting a Henderson as a wide receiver, but he's actually a running back and giving him the reverse. And so those tight ends that I talked about and the way that they might use them in their screen game, J-Mac, for me, I just think the different ways that they deploy those different kind of unique personnels are such a big deal.
And that's what Josh McDaniels is so good at. You're talking about the pony personnel. Even within that, there was a moment where they had a running back on the field, Antonio Gibson or Travion Henderson. They're coming around like it's a reverse, but they just hand the ball off to Ramondre
and then the defense
Stevenson.
is all run.
Everybody after the first one where Gibson got it. So what Josh McDaniels has always been special about is he figures out his personnel, what each guy is best at, and then puts them in position to succeed. So that shows up with the tight end screens. That shows up with the play action. Hitting we saw for years, Gronk right over the middle. Hunter Henry has kind of filled that role. And what I thought was really good, too, was Stephon Diggs. I think he had his best game of the season last week. On the outside a little bit, but a lot more in the slot of being able to work the middle.
I'll ask you a question. So I think one of the things that struggled, as Buffalo defensively has struggled so much with this past couple of weeks, is like eye discipline. When it comes to those different personnels, the two tight ends, the two running backs, the pony, they love to live in nickel, Buffalo defensively. Does that change at all?
Yes, and it has changed for Buffalo. I talked to McDermott about this last week. As the trends have changed, and you've talked about this a lot on this show, you and me and Marcus talked about 12 personnel with two tight ends. They studied that in the offseason. As that trend is changing, they've changed. They put more base on the field to compete against that. But to your point, the shifts and motions the New Orleans Saints did last week, it really got them, and it moved them a lot, and they ran directly at them.
Yeah.
Something to watch out for with this Bills team that we believe is a Super Bowl contender. All right, coming up, the Chiefs and Jaguars face off on Monday Night Football. Troy Aikman will be on the call some Thursdays here on NFL Live. And Troy, the Chiefs offense had its best outing week 4 versus the Ravens. What do you make of the return of Xavier Worthy and the emergence of Tyquan Thornton?
Yeah, Xavier Worthy obviously had a big impact on that game. I think probably the biggest factor in their success offensively was the way the offensive line protected Patrick Mahomes. I felt like he was getting hit a lot through the first few weeks of the season, and he was having to scramble, obviously, a lot more than what probably you would like to see. The left side of the offensive line is young, but they did a great job. And then Xavier Worthy, as we heard Patrick Mahomes say, anytime you can get a playmaker like that on the field, it just opens everything up. It stretches out the defense. They didn't waste any time getting him involved in the game plan. And Tyquan Thornton on the other side, that young guy's got to continue to get on the field because he's been a highlight reel through 4 games.
Yeah, the Jags are off to what some say is a surprising 3-1 start. If you ask them, they're like, we saw this coming. Some of it has to do with the play of quarterback Trevor Lawrence. What are you seeing from him on film?
Well, I just inconsistencies. I think it's easy to point maybe. It always is at the quarterback, but he's made some he's made some tough throws. He's been inaccurate at times. He's had some tough interceptions, but he's also had a lot of drop passes. He's done some good things as well. I think, obviously it's in his 5th year. There's a lot expected of him, but it's his 3rd offensive play caller. It's his 3rd head coach. It's early in the season. I anticipate that he's going to continue to get better. He's got good things working in his favor. He's got an outstanding running game. He's got good players around him, and then the defense, the way they're able to turn the ball over. So I think all those things are a quarterback's friend, and I trust that he'll find his groove as we move along.
We were both in Denver this past Monday, watched Bo Nix and the Broncos against Cincinnati. Troy, was this a case of Bo Nix and Sean Payton kind of hitting their stride, or was it just the Bengals defense struggling?
Well, that's that groove that Sean Payton was talking about.
The rut and the groove,
fine line between a rut and a groove, but that was pretty incredible. I don't want to take anything away from Denver. Cincinnati obviously has their issues, but that's something you can definitely build on. And for a young quarterback who was trying to find his way And now for him to put up the numbers that he was able to last week, and that was a heck of an offensive performance, and you just don't see it that often at this level, at this league. So hats off to him, and then Sean Payton for the job he did calling the game.
I have a surprise question for you from Orlovsky. He wants to know if you want to see some more flags thrown, maybe this Monday night.
Yeah, there's nothing I love more than seeing a lot of flags thrown at a ball game. I kind of made that clear the other night. I think I have in the past too.
Yeah, you do it well, Troy. Speaking of struggling, by the way, we had Baltimore a few weeks ago and a close one against Detroit. Since then, they've lost to Kansas City. Lamar Jackson's injured. How can they get by without him?
Boy, that's a good question. I guess that's why John's the head coach. We'll see what he's able to figure out. But, it got off to a tough start, obviously, week 1 in the loss to Buffalo in a really tight game. That would have been a great way to start the year against a conference rival. And then since then, they just haven't played real good football. I know the injuries, you lose your quarterback, in addition to all of the other great players. Coaches will say, hey, that's no excuse, but it is an excuse. You're not as good when you lose all pro players like they're losing. But, Laura, as you know, we saw them against Detroit a couple of weeks ago before all of these injuries. They were without Matabike in that game. And for whatever reason, they just hadn't played up to the level that you expect from them. And then now with these injuries, it's only going to get that much tougher.
Yeah, I mean, Troy, as you're saying, it's like their injuries are at the most important positions, too. It's not like they're catching a break.
Great players.
Yeah.
Great players. So no team can really overcome that. Some do, barely, but it's asking a lot, especially in a conference that's as tough as what Baltimore's is, and even within their own division.
Yeah, it's a great point. All right, again, always a treat to have the Hall of Famer Troy Aikman on our show here. We see you on Select Thursdays, and we'll see you.
Hey, and happy birthday.
Well, thank you. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, there you go.
Thanks so much.
Yeah.
You guys are making my day here. I don't deserve all this positivity. We appreciate you, Troy. We'll see you in Jacksonville.
You bet.
All right, week 5 kicks off tonight. The 49ers at the Rams from SoFi Stadium. Now we're just a couple hours away from kickoff. Again, I said this off the top. That stadium is gorgeous. You just can't see enough of it.
Unreal.
Let's stay on this game. Let's build out a play sheet presented by ESPN Bet Sportsbook. Dan, you get the honors of going first. Over under 1.5 touchdown passes for Stafford tonight. I think I know.
You guys put me in a bad spot, man.
No, this is a good spot.
I got to say something bad about him. I'm going to go over. This offense is pass game wise sensational versus zone coverages. We talked about Matthew and his eyes against zone defenders. I also think no Bosa with the pass rush. I would expect them to come out aggressive tonight and try to build a lead and then allow their defense to make San Francisco one-dimensional. I'll go over.
Ooh. All right, J-Mac, let's go to the Niners side of things. At least 125-plus total yards. That's rushing and receiving for Christian McCaffrey in this one?
Yes, I am going with this one. I look at it for Christian McCaffrey, already over 100 touches on the season. That's receptions, that's handoffs to him as well. It doesn't change tonight. With all of the injuries in the lineup, they have to get creative. Kyle Shanahan finding ways to get the ball in his hands. I think they do that, and if he gets enough touches, he's going to be productive.
All right, look at me, guys. I'm going to go out on a limb here.
Are you going to do your guy?
I'm going to give you Puka Nacua as an anytime touchdown scorer tonight. A little more obvious than Peters had been. Despite averaging nearly 140 yards a game, he has found the end zone just twice this season, but I think he makes his way in there for a score tonight. So there you go. Hey, a $10 bet on our play sheet wins you just over $35. Big money.
So only 2 touchdowns, it's a little dice roll.
Yeah.
I think so. I mean,
makes someone a little money.
He's been so good. He's one of the best receivers in the entire NFL. All right, up next, the guys are going to head to the touchscreen. They're going to show you why Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean are the best cornerback duo.
Matches, but the team won. What's going to fall out in Philly after this? Well, that really covers up what has been some problems for a 4-0 team. Now, ordinarily 4-0 teams would not have issues, but this is a team, Laura, that over the first 4 weeks has been outscored or outgained by 327 yards in total. So they're basically not playing the way that they should on offense, defense, but they keep winning. The only team that's ever performed worse this century, there have been 71 that started 4-0, was the Arizona Cardinals. They allowed 14 more yards than the Eagles. They wound up winning 1 more game the rest of the year and firing their head coach at the end of the year. And so A.J. Brown is complaining because he wants the football. He thinks he can make a difference. I think that's how they perceive this one to be. We've heard from him in the past, and I think that there's an expectation that when they play the Broncos on Sunday, that they'll start feeding him the football more and hope to get the offense back on track. But every team would love to have their problems. They're 4-0.
We're gonna start calling these Eagles problems, right? Other teams, injuries are headlining this game, unfortunately, on the 49ers side of things. Let's start with the quarterback position.
Although Brock Purdy ruled out again, this is the third game this season that he'll miss due to that turf toe injury. He was able to play Sunday against Jacksonville, but when he and Kyle Shanahan spoke that night, Brock said he was uncomfortable during the game. It got worse, and obviously with the short week, they decided not to play him, and once again we'll turn to Mac Jones, who will make his third start of the season. He won his first 2 starts. We'll see if he can come through again tonight. There are other notable Niners injuries as well. Take a look at the roll call of key Niners who will not be playing tonight. Aside from Brock Purdy, no Brandon Ayuk, no Juwan Jennings, no Ricky Pearsall, no George Kittle, no Nick Bosa. So that is obviously a huge disappointment for the Niners and something they'll have to overcome. And they'll have to do it against the Rams head coach, Sean McVay, who shines in the Thursday night spotlight since he became a head coach for the Los Angeles Rams. He is 8-1 in short weeks on Thursday night football. He doesn't lose in this spot usually, and it goes against his Monday night record when he's 5-6. We learned that when he's had more time to prepare, the Rams haven't fared as well, but on short weeks, Sean McVay and the Rams have been lethal, so you have that combination with the Niners injuries that creates some huge obstacles tonight for San Francisco.
It's an incredible stat. I'm sure there's some people paying attention to that for obvious reasons. It's one, though, that you just can't necessarily figure out, but I love it. All right, Matthew Stafford and the Rams, use of play action could decide tonight's game. Stafford has been lights out on play action this season, top 2 in completions, yards, and touchdowns. 49ers defense has been the exact opposite. 4 touchdowns allowed, tied for the most